You're live. Hi guys. Let's see. Get this way a little bit. That way. There we go. This way. I need to go this way. Ha. Once again, the directions on this thing crack me up. Hi guys. Hi book friends. We have another Get Ready With Me live and in color, where I'm filming my bookstore visit to Steamy Lit in Deerfield, Florida. It's a bookstore that is geared towards romance lovers, romance novel lovers, and all different kinds. Like, if you could think of all the romance books, all the different types of romance books that everybody likes to read, they're in this store. It's very cute. It's like a little cozy nook in this very cute shopping plaza in Deerfield. And there's like a bar and a few other cute little shops. I think there's like a pet store. I remember thinking when I was there, I'm like, people who love dogs and alcohol are definitely romance readers. So they knew their audience, or they knew their demographic. There weren't tons of people there, but it was like a steady stream of people coming in and out. And they had it decorated very romantically. Like, there's flower stuff everywhere. There's neon lights and little cozy nooks. There's like a little couch where you can sit and peruse your purchases. And there's lots of mirrors that you can take like selfies in, or pose with your friends, take little cute pictures with. It's meant to be an experience. It's meant to be like a day to the romance store instead of just going to a bookstore. I need to stop going this way. I need to stay here. So it's owned by a Latina. And from what I could tell, the store started out as a book subscription online. It was called the Steamy Box, and it's still in business. They still do steamy boxes if you want to sign up for that subscription box. There's all kinds of subscription boxes out there that cater to like fantasy people. They cater to just regular lit. They cater to feminist. There's a feminist one that looks really interesting that I thought about getting. The problem with boxes, I used to be in Book of the Month. The problem with boxes is that the next month is there before you know it. And then you've got like this stack of books that you haven't read. Like, I don't know. I think I was on part of Book of the Month for like a year. And I think I've read like, I don't know, 2 of the books. And then I finally got sick of myself and I canceled it. I don't know why I don't read them. They're not bad books. They're not like, you get to pick. They give you a selection. And then if you're like, a romance reader or whatever, I'm assuming it's stuff that you would like, right? And so, or a fiction reader. I don't know if this happens to other people. I've heard people say this about book of the month. I don't know if this happens with like theme boxes. Also, there's like other stuff that comes in some of those theme boxes, like bookmarks and romantic little cute things for romantic one, little like stickers about fantasy for a fantasy one. Book of the month was like just the book and their bookmarks, which aren't that exciting. But I have no idea why I didn't read those books. To this day, it's a mystery. It's a bookstory. I don't know, guys. So, anyways, they started out as that book subscription, and then they were very, very active in all kinds of events like book fairs, book conferences. They're all over the place to this day. They're very active on social media and they're always somewhere. There's somebody on social media that like represents them and she's all over the place all the time. She's really cute. She does really cute reels and things like that on social media. So the other part that they have that I've seen is they're very active with their authors. Like when there's a romance book coming out, when Kennedy Ryan was all over the place, they had a Kennedy Ryan event. I even think they did like a podcast with her. They did some kind of recording that I saw online. And there was a line waiting to go to that reading. And so it's a really good way to activate like a very specific niche because if you're a romance author, like what better place to find all of your readers than a romance bookstore versus like a Barnes and Noble or another, full bookstore that might not have as big of a turnout. And they made it like whimsical. It was like super romantic. It was just really cute. I didn't go, but I saw this online. So that's the background of the store. I had wanted to get there for a while and I wanted to go because there are just not a lot of independent bookstores in Florida, especially South Florida. I do not know why. It's unfortunate. I wish it were not the case, but here we are. So there's not a lot of independent bookstores here, and there's some Barnes and Noble. That's where I usually would end up. So I try to get to all of the ones that I find. The thing is that I don't feel like I've been a romance girl for a while. When I was a teenager, man, you could not give me enough romance books. Like there was somebody that I knew, like a friend of the family who knew that I was a reader, and she was helping clean out somebody's house. And in the attic, they had boxes of romance novels, like paperback romance novels. And she called my aunt and asked me if I would like to read any of them. Like if I wanted them, I could have them. They were mine. So I went and I took all of them. And I would read constantly. And I didn't have no monies back then. So a bunch of free books were amazing. But I loved all of them. They were like super simplistic. A lot of it was like Regency. It was very, dukes and lords and ladies. What was that really popular show? Bridgerton. It was Bridgerton, but all white people. And that was okay because I don't feel like we noticed those things back then. Whereas now, it's a bit different. But like when there would be like a dark-haired woman, I'd be like, ooh, she's like me. Curly-haired woman, ooh, she's like me. So, you did what you could with what you had. I read them all. I've had them forever. I'm actually going through like a cleaning out of my bookcase because I need more space. And there's just some books that I'm never going to read again. But I was trying to figure out which ones I loved with my whole heart that I would keep for a long time. Just like to have them and maybe read them again in 20 years. And I gotta tell you, like trying to read even one, guys, it's so awful. It's like, it's really bad. It's not just like, you know, the lack of representation. It's not even that. It's just that it's really cringy. A lot of them are badly written. And so are not badly written. I guess a lot of them are really simplistic. And that's what I'm starting to realize is that those are the books that I needed for that part of my life. That's why some of these like popular romance authors kind of get like a bad rap. And there's like so many people who are like, I don't understand why everybody loves them so much. And it's because they're those readers. That's the type of reading that they need to find their love of reading. And all of those starting readers are excited by those stories and they can get through them without it feeling painful. It's not just the actual writing itself being easier to go through and a simplistic story that's easier to get through. I think it's also that we all haven't gone through so many things like that early in life. And like some of the more complicated stories that we end up liking as we get older come from a place of feeling seen. And you can't feel seen if you haven't, you know, lived through that. Not to say that there aren't young people who live through things, because there are. I'm saying that there's more people who relate through heartbreak, divorce, loss of family members, the things that life does to you over time, like as you age. So, no, I don't want that one. So, I don't like my lip liner to be like a hard line. It's basically like when you're coloring in a coloring book. It's just the outline for me. And it's mostly to keep my lipstick on my lips because I hate it when it like travels, you know? So I had put off going to this bookstore. I had gone to some other independent bookstores but I kept seeing it. Like, it's just so cute. That's my dog drinking water. The loudest sound ever. It's just so cute that I'm like completely out of order right now. It's just so cute that you really want to go. They make you want to go. So my nose itched. This is horrible when this is live. So they made it so cute. You really want to go. And I finally said, I'm up here. I happen to be up there and I'm going to stop by this store. I'm going to find things to buy here. And there were some really popular books that were romance that I hadn't read because I felt like it was going to be a waste of time, that I wouldn't enjoy it. I read the Kennedy Ryan books. I didn't buy them from there. And they were very cute and they were very for somebody who has lived through things. Like, it was about a divorce and the loss of a baby. But it still, I don't know, it didn't feel like I loved it. So I had heard about like the Emily Henry books, that they're like the best romances by some people who aren't like romance girlies. And I just never got them. So I said, I'm going to find some stuff to buy. There have to be things. There have to be really good books that are there because this is a huge genre and it keeps the book world going. So there have to be great books there. There have to be like the starter books that are for everybody, and there have to be like middle books, and there have to be fantastic books. I have to choose to believe it. So I went. I loved the shop. I wanted to stay there for hours and hours. I would have stayed there for hours and hours if I could have. And I found 4 books. I kept to my rule that I was going to read the first page. I actually read a couple of pages of each of these books to make sure that it's something that I was going to like. And I found a book that was about a girl, an Asian girl, and it came from, I believe, Asian mythology, which I'm all for. You guys know, like, I want to hear all kinds of stories that are not just European stories, because all those stories I feel like I've read too many times. So I love that. One was by a Latina, and it's a kind of regular romance novel. Another one was Bookshops and Bone Dust, which I didn't realize at the time was part of Legends and Lattes, which was like a huge cozy fantasy that went crazy years ago. I had no clue because the cover of the one that I got from Steamy Lit, this version, didn't have like the orc and the, this sounds weird, guys, didn't have the orc and the other characters, like other creatures on the front, which is the popular version that everybody identifies. So I just picked it up because it looked cute. The current cover is actually really cute. And uh-oh, which one did I just pick up? Oh, no. I think it's that one. And the first few pages were really cute. It's like a swashbuckling adventure with orcs and dwarves and a kind of large squirrel possum. I forget what kind of character it's supposed to be. So the fourth one was finally Emily Henry. I chose Beach Read because I had heard a lot about that one. And I said, since I'm here, I'm going to get one that I heard so that I can see if this genre is really in my past, or if I can find something that gets me back into a part of it. Like, I don't have to be a full-blown romance girly, okay? I don't have to be a full-blown fantasy girly because I'm not, right? There are so many different kinds of fantasy out there that I can't do. I can't, like, I read the first Dune book, and then when I got into, like, by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, this is so painful. And then I tried to read the second one, and I couldn't do it. It was too convoluted. The language that they had invented, like, they're like talking in the language, and you're like, man, I don't understand the language. Don't love it. So there's like high fantasy and there's like complex things that just aren't for me. And I'm okay with that. But there's a lot of fantasy that I love. Lord of the Rings, I love it. Other like modern, cute little fantasies, I could do it. Some of them aren't well written. But, you know, I try. So I said I could do that with romance. I'm going to do that with romance. And I got my books. And I started with Emily Henry. And we're going to leave that for the book review. So back to the bookshop. You're saying to yourself, if I am not a romance girly and I don't want to buy romance, like it's just not for me, should I go to Steamy Lit? I got these Live Tinted blush bronzer combo. You can't really see it with this one because they're so close in color. I guess if I get closer, you can kind of see it. This lighter one, you really can see there. And you can either use the blush first and then the bronzer, or you can swirl them together. I feel like something like this existed from somebody a long time ago, but I really liked it. And so I gave it a try. And I have to say, I was very happy with my choice. I can only, not can only, but I prefer to do the blush separately because it's just too much pigment when I do them together. Like too much pigment for blush. It's either too dark or too light. But I love Live Tinted. They make a lot of products for melanated people. And so, like, if they're going to get a color mix right, if anybody's going to get a color mix right, it's them. Or at least for my skin. That's nice. Too much on this side. No, this side. Maybe that's the light. Well, you guys know I'm going to rub it all together anyway. So again, you're asking yourself, is this romance shop for me? Should I just ignore it? If I am looking for bookstores, and I too know that there are not a lot of independent bookstores in Florida, in South Florida, because like for instance, Steamy Lit is opening a branch in Tampa, and Tampa has wonderful independent bookstores. They have Tombolo, and there's another one. I can't remember the name, but I've gone and I love it. And Tombolo's right next to like a coffee shop. It's so adorable. So they're going to Tampa. Great place to go to. But South Florida is just not fantastic. I don't know. Miami has some good ones, but like all the in between, they forgot about everything else. So I don't do bronzer anywhere else because I don't like it. So yes, you should go. You can still go if you're not a romance girly, because I'm going to age myself right now. If you guys ever went to a video store, I don't feel like Blockbuster did this, but I feel like everybody should know what a video store is because it's been in like so many movies as like a young teenager's job. I love these About Face lip colors. They're amazing. So Dawson's Creek, right? They all worked at well, not all of them, but the guys worked at the video shop. That was like a normal, either a waiter or a video shop. That was a normal job to give a teenager in TV and movies. So in those kind of smaller video shops, there was a back room. If you look towards the back, you would see a curtain, a doorway, and a curtain. And above said curtain, it would say adult. And that's where they kept the dirty movies, the kind of unspeakables hidden. Back in the day where you couldn't just turn on the internet and watch as much dirty stuff as you wanted, you had to go skulk in the back of the video store, or you could get a magazine. So at Steamy Lit, where all of the spice is in plain sight, if you look at the very back little corner, it doesn't have a doorway or a like hidden entrance. But if you look at the very back, there's a little tiny shelf full of regular books, like some of the popular contemporary, maybe TikTok books or just lit in general. They have it there for the regulars, and they have it like labeled. They have everything labeled. They have all their different types of romance labeled, like the LGBTQ type romance. They have morally gray romance labeled. They have bunch of different cute labels all over the place. So if you just want a cute bookstore to go to kind of like sit in and enjoy, and you're like, romance is never going to be for me, that is still an option because they have the little hidden dirty section just for you. Would I go back to Steamy Lit? Absolutely, 100%. I really enjoyed, really enjoyed half of the books that I bought. About 4. I really did not enjoy the other 2. So I've come to the realization that I am still a romance girly and I can do it. It just has to be a really well-read book. I mean, well-written book. Well-read. That's hilarious. It has to be a really well-written book. The story cannot just be a vehicle for spice. I need like a fully built out story and world and characters, which is a tall order. I mean, that's tall order for any book. I want that from all of my books, including my fantasy. Like, don't just make up a bunch of silly words and think you're going to trick me into not realizing that I don't like this story. And so don't take everybody's clothes off every 3 minutes and think you're going to trick me either, because you're not. And what else do I need from my romance novel? I need believability in that, those 2 people should be together. But actually, what I realized from these books I just read, I need to want to be in the world that they're in. I did all of those romance novels. Like I said, they were Regency. I am done with the European Duke Lady Lord world. I did it. I did it probably, I don't know, 50 times at least. And it wasn't bad. It was cute, but I'm kind of over it. And what I'm noticing a lot is that people are still using that world, but they're trying to bring more modern things into it. And I don't want modern things in it. I just want to not read about it anymore. I want to take the modern things and read them somewhere else. Not necessarily in contemporary romance, because I don't love contemporary romance. And so I'm making this complicated. I know that I'm making this complicated. But I want, for instance, one of these books, and a book that I read for one of these other videos I did recently. One of these books took a Mexicana and they took her to England. I don't want her in England. I want her in Mexico. And I want a love story in Mexico in 18 whatever year it was. That's what I want. I'm sure it exists. I'm going to find it. And then I'm going to tell you guys all about it. And we'll see how much I loved it. I feel like I will. I think that's about it. I'm ready. I'm going to record my video now. I'm trying to keep up with the steamy / springtime theme. We're doing the Steamy Lit, the romance visit, because it's springtime, and romance and all things love feel very spring. So we're going to get romantical for spring. And I've got my flower shirt and I've got my rosy face. And we went to the dirty bookstore. No, it's not a dirty bookstore. Yeah, it is. All right, guys. It's good seeing you. See you next time. Bye, book friends.